Welcome, 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 and thank you for spending some of your time with us. My name is Tina Rosenquist, and this is Knowledge for Wellness. And this show is to better inform you, because when you know more, you are empowered to make better decisions for yourself and your loved ones for a better quality of life. And knowledge is power. And today's topic is on herbs. And I am delighted to present Marilyn-Nightingale. She is a certified natural health professional from Herbs Unlimited located in Minnetonka. Welcome, Marilyn.
Thank you. It's a delight to be here.
Thank you. And I am so delighted that you came on Knowledge for Wellness. And I know that this is your first time on Knowledge for Wellness. And so a lot of my viewers haven't met you, and they don't really know a lot about Herbs Unlimited. So I'd love for you to just take a minute or two and talk about your love, your passion, what actually took you into this profession.
Well, I've been doing this for about 35 years, and it got started because of my dad was told he needed heart bypass surgery. My mother was told if she had another bladder infection, she would end up, that would be the end of it. They couldn't give her any more antibiotics because her bacteria in the bladder was feeding on the antibiotics that they gave her.
Oh, okay.
And then it just boomeranged from one thing to another, and I was having problems in my 20s where they wanted to put me on experimental drugs for my arthritis.
Oh, no.
And so it just got started there.
Mm-hmm. So it was actually right there with your family and loved ones, and that took you to another area of learning about natural then.
It did, and I met a couple that were Mennonites, and he had gotten his medical degree, and he'd gotten his chiropractic degree, and he took all the state tests and passed them, and then he refused the licensing. And I said, "You're crazy." I said, "Why would you ever do something like that?" And he said, "Well, because I want to do what's best for the people's health and not what the government tells me I can do." And so he was my mentor, and I learned a lot from him about how to know what the people's bodies wanted rather than just what the book said.
Sure.
And from that point on, I have literally spent thousands every year to make certain I'm current with the things that are relative to the time and the knowledge that's out here and brought to us through the sciences.
Right. And you're here to educate my viewers as well on that. But now you started with your family members, and then you studied under this gentleman. But what actually triggered people to start to come to Marilyn-Nightingale?
Because of the fact that my dad had gone to the doctor with what I had asked him to take.
Okay.
I'd given him a chelation product, and he took it to his doctor, and he says, "Well, what if I take this Mega-Cal?" And his doctor looked at it, and he told him, he says, "Well, that's an overdose of vitamins and minerals." He says, "If you want to, it probably won't hurt you, it probably won't help you, but if you want to throw your money away, that's as good a way as any."
Oh.
But 6 months later, he said to my dad, he says, "I don't know what you've been doing, but," he says, "whatever it is, you've got a better heart and circulation than most people in their 20s. And my dad was in his 60s. You know, and it's just been one thing after another, and as people find out about the results you're getting with something, pretty soon they start coming.
Yeah, I love that waste of money. That was so beneficial.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
And then the first person that ever came to me that was a non-member was a man from Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and his wife was told that she had been going to emergency about every week, and they didn't know. The doctors told him to get her funeral planned and pick out her coffin because she wouldn't live.
Oh no!
And he came and he says, "Marilyn," he says, "is there anything you can do naturally?" And I said, "I don't know." But I said, "I have just been working with a man in West Virginia, and catfish man of the woods." And the first time I went to see catfish, he had a big old pile of sticks and twigs and leaves out there in the yard, and he was fixing up little bags of bitters.
Okay.
And with those. And so I said, well, let's try the bitters.
Okay.
And so we fixed up a big pot of bitters, and between bitters and chicken noodle soup, she was able to take a spoon of bitters, and then she could keep down some soup. And,
Okay.
and she got better and better, and she started passing white pieces of little white balls, okay? And nobody knew what they were. And she passed over 600-700 of them, about that many. But the doctors, I think, thought she had cancer because you could feel the little knots in her abdominal cavity, you know, when she was so thin. And it was kind of fascinating, but we found out that their water was coming from the bottom of the Point Pleasant water tank, and because of that, she had picked up a parasite.
Oh.
And none of the other family did, but theirs was the only water that did that. And she's alive and well and doing what I'm doing.
Wow. So her whole life
was changed.
Yes. Wow.
And so it's just been like that over and over.
Okay. That's quite an amazing story. And now she's also a herbalist?
She's also an herbalist and doing the same thing I do, only a little differently.
Okay. Well, of course, I have to ask the question, why herbs? You know, why is this, you know, so much better? And, you know, why is it that you had that story to tell?
Well, one of the reasons I am so strong with herbs and use them more than the vitamins and minerals is because of the balance. I don't think there's anyone on the face of this earth that does enough study in balance. And our Creator said in the scriptures, he said herbs are for food and for medicine. They're for healing. And I am finding that when people come with a suitcase of vitamins and minerals and the doctors have said do this and this and this, and they're following everything, it is just amazing the quicker we get to giving them the herbs that are high in those nutrients, the quicker they get well.
Right.
And one of the cases in point was a young lady that had been going to Mayo, and she had a problem with the electrical energies from high lines and things like that. And the first time her husband brought her, he almost had to carry her into the house because she was having such a bad reaction. And I never ask people to do something they don't believe. If they don't want to do it, it's better that they do what they do believe than what they don't. And
the mind's a very powerful thing, yes.
Yeah, and she started taking the herbs, and she got over her problems also. And it took months before she would really let go of all the vitamins and minerals and realize that every herb has all the vitamins and minerals. And if you have an herb that is for the thyroid, it will be higher in certain minerals than the ones that are for the kidneys or the pancreas. And so when I first got started, it was fascinating how I just thought, oh, these books have to be all wet, because here it says that it's for this organ and this organ and this organ and that organ and this disease and that disease, and it can't possibly be. But it can, because of the way that it addresses the most serious problem when you get the right herb for a person's system that's compromised. And then you end up getting all the help with these other areas that are lesser areas, but they're all important to work together.
Sure.
And so the herbs, by working together in the balance that we need, will bring about quicker, good health.
Yes. And to think about the Native Indians, you know, they also took from the plant life and used that as a very natural medicine as well.
Yeah, and when I got started, I did the potions, you know, and the teas and things like that.
Okay.
And I didn't have nearly the wellness response that I get now. Now, almost within 100%, we can know how much a person needs to take and which things they need.
Okay.
I don't have to know what's wrong with somebody. It's like, I had a young man come, and he says he wanted a mini physical.
Okay.
And so I gave him the mini physical, and when we were finished, I said, well, your body says that the liver is what we need to work on the most. And he says, well, what do I do? And so I showed him a couple things, and he ended up taking lemon and peppermint essential oils.
Okay, now
it wasn't, you know, and fresh lemon juice in a glass of water every day for his liver.
Okay, now was this to help him detox his liver then?
Well, I don't know whether that was it. I don't have to know all the whys and wherefores.
Okay.
All I need to know is what their body is saying they need.
Okay.
And that's the way I work.
Okay.
And he called me back about 7-8 months later, maybe a little longer than that, I don't know. And he says, Marilyn, he says, I lied to you. He says, do you want the good news or the bad news?
Oh.
I says, always give me the bad first so we can end up with the good news.
Sure.
And so he said, well, the bad news is I knew that I had a serious problem when I came to you, and I didn't tell you.
Oh.
And he said, I was stunned that you found that my liver was the problem when I knew it was.
Oh, okay.
And he said, I just got back from my doctor. He says, they called me back after my regular physical and told me there was a mistake. Something was wrong, and they had to take it again, and so they did. Okay. And he says, I just got back from the doctor's office, and they told me my hepatitis C is gone, that it couldn't be gone. You know, and that's the first I knew that combination of oils would take care of hepatitis C. I knew it was checking so strong with liver problems, and it's so inexpensive to the other things that I used that I got to using it a lot.
Yeah, wow, that's great. Wow, that's quite a story that he actually knew his diagnosis and didn't share that with you.
That happens a lot.
Okay.
That happens a lot. It's amazing how many people won't tell you everything.
Yeah.
And it'll evolve. Men especially come, and they don't have a thing wrong with them.
Oh, okay.
Not a thing, you know, and you start checking, and pretty soon you can tell them that it appears that such and such is wrong, and
they must be astounded that you actually can figure it
well,
out.
You can. It's just like we can know by the herbs that they are needing whether something is bacterial or viral.
Okay.
We don't have to go to the lab to find it out. And what's exciting to me is there are people, I've been working with some doctors in Texas and California that have left the medical profession to do and test and do the kinds of things that we do.
Oh, okay.
You know, and it's really nice to work with the people from both sides.
Yes.
Because that's where the power is.
It would be great if we could combine both entities, and, you know, because the patient is the end result, to make them healthy and give them back a good quality of life. And it seems as if Minnesota is being one of the first forthcoming and working with integrated medicine as well. And, you know, that's fantastic to see that, because that seems to be quite a jump now. Instead of fighting each other and saying this is wrong and that was a waste of money that you just told us that story, why not try it?
And we can work together.